Good evening and welcome to another live stream from a home in Italy. We're back. My name is David Benton, and tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it is the big, massive Q&A. There you go. Did you miss us last week? I do apologize. I hate cancelling live streams. I really do. I don't like doing it at all. But unfortunately, sometimes, especially in these periods, we do have lots of signings and things like that, and I just can't make it back in time. I do try and keep signings away from Tuesdays, but sometimes it does happen. So 1,000 apologies to you all for doing that last week, but hopefully we're going to have a clear run now and through summer. So as I say, tonight's session is the big, massive Q&A. Remember, these are really important sessions. These are the ones where those of you that have got lots of questions that maybe you would usually send by email and things like that. This is the time to send us them by email, but then we will answer them live so everybody else can hear the answers to questions, because lots of people have the same questions, to be honest with you. And I think it's great that we can let everybody know. So these sessions are really important. Make the most of them. They're here for you. So make the most. If you do have anything on your mind after this, after tonight's session, or as the days and weeks go on, just send me an email to info@homeinittily.com and say, I've got a question for the big massive Q&A, and I will happily read them out. I've got a couple tonight where people have sent questions, so I will try and get through those. When you do start writing questions, please wait. Wait until I give you the go ahead, because I've got a few announcements and things like that to do first, and your questions will get lost. So there you go. What else have we got on tonight? Tonight we have what do we call it? It's the stunning photo of the week. We have some of these terrible things. Claire B, your equals tour. Not sure what that means. Anyway, okay. We have stunning photograph of the week. We have Domenico and Tony's tongue twisting. Special guest coming in for the tongue twisting trials is everybody's favorite Pete. It's Pacentro Pete. He's going to be helping Tony out with this quite long tongue twisting trial, because it's a bit of a what's the word? A bit of a cameo. Is it a cameo? Do we say cameo? I don't know what it's called. Anyway, there's two parts of it. So Pacentro Pete is going to be helping Tony tonight. I'm giving him his. I'm going easy on Pacentro Pete, but I'm going hard on Domenico and Tony, because I think it's about time we started to up the level a little bit and make it a little bit difficult. So you guys, because you've got every single one that we've done for the last few weeks, or since we started. So tonight is going to be a little bit difficult for you. For those of you who are watching for the first time, these are where our resident, what can we call them? Resident people, resident friends, come on and try and say something from a famous film in Italian. And then later in the program, about 5 to 8, we will then get Domenico, who will then say it in English as he's trying to learn English. And then people after that stage will then guess which film it's from. So it's going to be quite difficult tonight. It's going to be tough. You're going to have to listen very hard. I will be very surprised if anybody gets it tonight. What else have we got to say? Alan, good evening from DK and Pasta Ponte. Thank you for a great and stunning tour in May. It was fantastic. Alan, thank you for joining us. The last tour was brilliant. That was 2 weeks ago, I think now. Was it 2 weeks? Was it last week? It wasn't last week, Tony, was it? No, 2 weeks ago, I think. Absolutely fantastic. What a great bunch. And the nice thing with these tours is that people tend to stay in touch afterwards as well. So it's we have a WhatsApp group and people are still keeping in touch. I think people have made some really good friends. So that is superb. So remember the tours. We have got some spaces left on the November tour. Let me just put these dates up. Tony as well, if you can let me know, because I can't see how many people's in. I've no idea if people are in or not. I'm sure there will be, because people are chatting away. But so the autumn tour dates, 26th, 27th of September. I've written 2 spaces left. When you go on the website, it will actually show that there's no spaces left, but I will be adding a couple of spaces to that. 24th, 25th of October is fully booked, but I believe we've had a cancellation, so we may be able to squeeze another 2 on that. There is somebody that sent me an email wanting the October tour, so I will get back to you this week. 7th and 8th, it says 28 spaces are left. left. That's wrong, actually. There's only 17 spaces now. So the November tour, the 7th and 8th of November, there's just 17 spaces left on that, not 28. So the booking forms are on the website. Make sure you take a look at that. They are, I like to say they're fantastic because they are fantastic. And like I said, the groups that we get are brilliant. And what's happened this time round, there are normally people that do find, it's Bomber Brad. Bomber Brad's in town. There are people that do find properties on the tours, but usually after. This tour has been quite interesting because there's people that's just stayed on after the tour and found their places. And Rayano has just gone absolutely exploded from this tour, which is superb. So great town as well, and also somebody in. Was that my? Oops! I forgot to turn my telephone. Did you hear that telephone beeping? Then that's a bit unprofessional, isn't it? Let me get rid of that. So yeah, Popoli, Rayano, and Pacentro have been all particularly popular on this last tour, as they always are. So try and join us on the next one. I say November is the one where there's the most amount of spaces, but I will be releasing some others for September and October as well. What else have I got to say? Oh yes, remember, if you're looking for the rental properties around the area, in particular around the Sulmona area, but also close to me in Palombaro, remember to get in touch with our very good friends if Tony's going to give me the hi Colin, good to hear from you as well, and we're all good, thank you very much. If Tony's just going to give me the screen for a minute, if you can get in touch with our friends I keep hinting to Tony, if you just give me that, there, he's done it now, look. Rentinabruzzo@gmail.com. Lewis will happily speak to you about the properties that he's got available in this area. And a great thing that he is doing at the moment, we are going to get him on at some point. Strangely enough, I've been talking to him so many times over the last year, never met the guy at all. And we have a very, very interesting type of relationship. So we'll when we get him on, I'm sure he'll explain why. So rentinabruzzo@gmail.com. Lots of people have been getting in touch with Lewis, and they've said that he's a mountain of information, if that's the right words. I have other words for him, but I won't say that. No, he's fantastic. But what he is doing now for people is anybody that is looking maybe to rent for 12 months to get your elective residency visa, rather than buying a property and then trying to get the elective residency visa. He is actually offering some great rates on 12-month rentals. So if some of you are thinking, I really want to go for that visa, but I don't want to have to buy a house before I do it, or because we're only going to buy a house if I can get the visa. If it's all because of that, then get in touch with Lewis, and he can give you some options on how he can help with some 12 months contracts and things like that. And he's also gone through the process himself, so he can give you some advice on that kind of thing and how to register the contract. So he's turned into quite a bit of an expert. I'm not going to blow his trumpet too much. Sorry, I should rephrase that. You know what I mean. But yes, he has turned into a little bit of an expert and been looking after a number of our clients. Okay, so Laurie, it's Llama Laurie. Llama Laurie. I was thinking today we've got too many males in this thing. We've got Tony, the terrible producer. We've got Pacentro Pete, also known as Paranormal Pete. We've got Bomber Brad. Now we've got Llama Laurie. Laurie, you arrive on the 27th of June till the 19th of August. Fantastic. So we'll definitely see you when you come out. And I think we need to get you on here while you're out here as well. So I think we could do with a catch up with you guys. That would be fantastic to do a live stream from your roof terrace. That would be something good. So hopefully I'll be in touch about that anyway. What else have we got to say? I think it is. So Bjorn, it was great to meet you in Abruzzo when doing the tour with you. Best vacation of last year's. Definitely will buy in Abruzzo. Greetings from the weird German. What a great guy. Really good to hear from you, Bjorn, as well. And I will be in touch with you shortly as well, because I've got some documents that you wanted to see. What a great guy. The only downside to Bjorn is he used to work for Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs in the UK. So that's a little bit, but I'll forgive him for that. It's not too much of a problem. Nice to hear from you anyway. Okay, so let's move on with things, because it is the Q&A. What I will do is just say to you that I forgot about that. if you are going to post any questions, just give us a few minutes, because it's now time for everybody's favorite moment, which is Tony, Domenico, and Pacentro Pete's tongue-twisting trials. So remember, this one, I've just seen a message there from Paul Villafranca. I've got his name embedded in my head for Prezza. I will, yes, I will speak. I'll be in touch very soon. Okay, so let's get on with Tony, Domenico, and Tony's. What's Emma? Hello from Toronto. Hello to you as well. Domenico and Tony's tongue twisting trials. Okay, can we clear the screen, Tom? Have you noticed whenever I ask him to, can he clear the screen, and he just puts more on then, doesn't he? Okay, let's get Tony out and get ready for tonight's tongue twisting trials. Where is he? Let's get him on. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
You've got a partner in crime tonight as well, because Pacentro Pete is joining.
The easy bit. I've got the hard bit.
You have got, yeah, but it's his first time. To be fair, you've been doing this for months. You should be fluent now in Italian. So we have to ease Pete in gently. We don't want to scare him off. We want him to come back. Then we're going to have Lama Laurie as well coming in the next few weeks. It's going to be, this screen is going to be packed full of people. In fact, we could do an hour-long film and give you all your scripts, and then we can pass an hour doing that. Okay, why haven't you got your England football T-shirt on today? What's that?
I'm saving it.
You're saving it for when the tournament starts? Yeah. There you go. And we say football, ladies and gentlemen, from the US, not soccer. Please, please, nobody say soccer. It's football. And the European football competition starts very soon. So we're all going to be very excited. We're going to do some lives from my terrace, as long as England are doing well and Italy is doing bad. Okay, it's time to bring Pacentro Pete on. Good evening, sir.
All right. No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure at all. How are you doing, Pete? Everything okay?
Doing well. Doing real well, thanks.
So good to see you again. You're becoming a little bit of a star over there in Pacentro. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Everybody on the tours. The last time we came on the tours and we were taking the buses up and we were saying we're going to Pacentro. And I mentioned, obviously, you kindly came to meet everybody, and everybody erupted into an applause when I said Pacentro Pete was going to be there. And then I on my walkie-talkie, I told Tony on the coach behind that Pacentro Pete's going to join us, and you could hear the eruption of applause on that bus as well.
I've been asked by the expat community here to downplay it a little bit, to go dial it back a couple notches. We don't want, we don't want, Starbucks and Costco.
No. We're not going to let anybody in, Pacentro. Right. You don't need to worry about that, Pete. We're just going to sort of just let them meet you, and then we'll take them out. We'll move them away from Pacentro. No problem. Okay. We'll move people higher up in the mountains. Okay, so. Are we ready for tonight? So Pete gets the last part. So this is actually from a film, and it is actually Tony is playing the man. Pete, if I would have known before, I could have got him a bit of a wig or something like that. But Pete is playing Tony's girlfriend. I think they are sort of girlfriend in this movie. So yeah. So that just to try and help people. Sorry,
I'm gonna go for blondes.
He used to be blonde, apparently, Pete told me. Anyway, let's not go down any of those lines. Let's send Tony his line, his and what I'm going to do, Pete, once he's finished, I'm going to point to you like that, and then it's your turn to say your part. Okay, so no guessing anybody. It's going to be very difficult anyway, but no guessing until Domenico has been on later. Tony, I'm sending your part now, and I'll give you 5 seconds to study it.
Only 5. I think I will need a week.
And then Pete, once I give you the arrow, then it's your turn. Are you ready, Tony?
Yeah, go on, Martin.
Yeah. Okay. Try and sound a little bit enthusiastic if you can. Okay.
Yeah.
There's all these people that sat here at home waiting to hear all of this, and those people that have just joined us for the first time thinking, what on earth is going off? Anyway, here we go. Let's go, Tony. Go.
Right. Ha bisogno di me. Non è come se fosse una maniaca, una delirante, semplicemente si arrabbia a volte. tutta diamo un po' matta a volte. Non è vero.
Sì, a volte può bastare una sola volta.
Well, Pete, I've got to say that was superb. Far better than Tony.
Oh, yeah.
I do love that comment from Scott Wells. What on earth is going on? This poor guy is, come on, thinking it's a Q&A about Italian. It is, Scott, we're getting there. Just bear with us. You have to keep joining in every week and you'll get to know. I wonder if anybody can get that from that. Can we quickly...
You want me to read it again?
No, we'll do it in 55 minutes. We'll do it in 50 minutes. No, when Domenico comes on as well. Pete, absolutely superb. We'll see you a little bit later on. Thank you very much. Tone, absolutely useless as usual.
Well, yeah. Well, that one word, I couldn't get my tongue around it.
You did. You did. Well, that's the name of the game, isn't it? Anyway, we'll see you later. Okay, so Scott's wondering what on earth is going on. So hopefully everybody else will start and explain what is actually going on. But there you go. It's a bit of fun that we have. But I would be very surprised if anybody gets it tonight. Very, very, very surprised. I think I might have to give a clue for the first time. So then it will be 1 point to me. Okay. Salma, Pete, you're rocking the Italian language. It's true. I thought you did quite well. Definitely, definitely. Okay, guys. So if you are ready, start firing your questions in. Tony's, I'm going to start adding them to the screen. And then we will start answering away. I've got some questions here. And there was one, somebody saying, I saw Pete on the street in Sulmona. I was too shy to ask for an autograph. Don't be shy. Pete loves it. Absolutely loves it. Take photographs, selfies all around. We need to put Pacentro Pete on the map. I want people. He's actually going for a holiday to Japan, I think, soon. I want him to be famous even over there. We need to do as much as possible to make him famous. Loving the look of Piedimonte. How much snow do they get? Melanie, I live in the car 5 minutes from Piedimonte, and unfortunately, we get very, very little snow. Piedimonte is close to Palombaro. So you got Palombaro, Piedimonte, Guardiagrele, Faro San Martino, Casali. We're all sort of hugging the Maiella mountainside, and we get very, very little snow. If it comes, it can come quite heavy. It's not happened for a number of years yet now, but we're talking a week, 2 weeks. But Piedimonte is a stunning town. Definitely worth a visit. A very, very unique town, and there's some great mountain walks from there as well. Steve, this is a good question. This one, I'm glad you picked this one out, Tom. Could you please explain the different types of houses and maybe give the equivalent of what it would be in the US? For example, terraced house is what we would call a townhouse. This is a great question, because I'm actually still learning some of these. Now, the way I describe things, if I say townhouse, then that usually, in the UK, we say terraced house. A terraced house is connected on more than one side and is usually part of a row. So, but I don't use terraced house here really on our descriptions, purely because every property is usually quite unique, whereas terrace properties they're usually in a row of very similar properties. So when we say townhouse, we literally mean a house that is connected on more than one side in a town. That would be our description of townhouse. So you're saying terraced house is what we would call a townhouse. So I suppose it is similar, but just they can be unique individual properties. So they're not necessarily, they don't all look the same. Whereas in the UK, when you get rows of terraced houses, they are very similar looking. Now, sometimes, which I find quite strange, you will get estate agents calling an apartment what I would call a townhouse, because they will say appartamento, and that could be something that's actually spread over more than one floor. This is when it gets a little bit sort of complicated, because I would class an apartment as just on one floor. Whereas sometimes if it's maybe a door on the ground floor and then going up to part of the house and maybe going up again to part of the house, some agents will call those appartamento, which I find quite strange. So apartments, I would describe them as as one floor and usually part of a block, whether it's a historical building or whether it's part of a condominium. So the usual sort of high rise, if you like, apartments. Obviously, detached house is, or as they say here in Italy, independent or indipendente, is obviously a property that's not attached in any way. Sorry, I've got something's flown in my eye, I think. And then the other one that we would say semi-detached house means it's just connected on one side. But you do get some strange variations of what things are called over here. So sometimes apartment may not necessarily mean an apartment the way that, as we know, because sometimes they will call especially smaller townhouses, they will say appartamento, and then when you read the description you think, well, it's not an apartment at all. So hope that's sort of part explained it to you, but that's the reality of it. Okay, Chef Spencer, good morning from Tucson, Arizona, and good morning to you as well. Can you discuss the rail system and how one would make their way from anywhere in Abruzzo to France, Germany, or Switzerland? Okay, so the rail system here in Italy, I think, is absolutely fantastic, and I've only been using it the last couple of years, and I think it's superb. So I would say that from here you would go to Pescara, which is the main hub of Abruzzo, unless you're in the Sulmona area. In fact, even from Sulmona you would go to Pescara, which you can get there either by train or by bus, depending whereabouts in Abruzzo you are. And there's a train station. It's a huge train station in Pescara, and from there you can pretty much get anywhere. You can the next hub, the next huge place heading further north. Obviously, you go through places like Ancona, Rimini. Then you've got Bologna, and you can carry on then from Bologna, going towards, is it Turin, Tony? I think somewhere, Torino. Oh no, that's going the other way, isn't it? Milan, sorry, that's what I'm thinking of. Bologna, Milan, and then obviously from Milan you can get anywhere. So yeah, you would go to Pescara, and then you can find your way anywhere. If you're on the west side of the mountains, so not necessarily Sulmona, because that's quite clear close to Pescara, but if you were somewhere like the far outreach of Abruzzo, going westwise, maybe towards Tagliacozzo, places like that, then you would go to Rome and then pick up the rail from Rome and head north. So, but the rail system is very good, so you don't have to worry about things like that. I've got something in my. I do apologize. I keep doing this, but something is driving me crazy. Okay, so I've been asked again. I'll just do a couple of questions, Tony, from here, if I can. Hopefully, you're getting a few questions coming through. Cars and driving license. I've been asked again to clarify. I think it was somebody earlier on that wrote something that mentioned about how to get a driving license here in Italy, and also about owning a car in Italy. This is something that we talk about quite a lot, and it is really important for people to understand how it works. Now, if you buy a house in Italy, anywhere in Italy, then it doesn't automatically mean that you can buy a car. The only way that you can, even if you're an Italian citizen, you can't just automatically buy a car, because to buy a car here, you have to have residency. That's the reality. You have to live here. If you don't live here, you can rent cars. You can also, so I've heard I've heard some people that have been leasing cars from France. I've not had any direct contact with people that's done it, but I have heard a few people, and I'm waiting for somebody to tell me about that, because that would maybe quite interesting for people to know, to get long-term leases. That's an option. But if you want to buy a car, then you must become resident. There is no way around it. The only thing some people have done, which I personally wouldn't do, but is ask somebody local here, or ask somebody in Italy to put a car in their name, and then you drive it. But that obviously it comes with its risks. The fact that you're paying for a car and it's going to go into somebody else's name, but you cannot buy a car unless you are resident. So buying a house doesn't mean anything. So then when it comes to driving licenses, now this is where it's a little bit of a pain, but hopefully when the European Union finally makes a decision on something, the way it works at the moment is within Europe and selected countries, which I can't remember, that's maybe outside of the EU. I think Switzerland may be one, possibly Norway, somewhere like that. If you hold a license within the European Union, then you can exchange it when you move to Italy, and exchange it and get an Italian one. You have to by law within a year, I think it is. You have to change the driving license. However, if you are outside of the Eurozone, I think the UK has an agreement where you can change licenses still, I think. But if you're in the US, Canada, Australia, places like that, then unfortunately you need to take your test again, which is a little bit of a joke, let's be honest. If you've been driving for all these years, then all of a sudden you move to Italy and suddenly find then that to have a car and to have a license, you've got to take your test again. But unfortunately, that's the way it is. What I will say is there's a number of people that have moved out over the last year that have done it, and people that did not speak a word of Italian and studied using certain books and using obviously certain people that are here that are offering these kind of lessons. And the oral part, well, it's not oral part, the written part of the exam is actually multiple choice. So if you study the right things, and you also get an app where you can try these multiple choices out, and you can practice doing the exam if you like, and there's a number of people that have passed with no problem. Obviously, I dare say there's going to be a number of people that haven't, but it is certainly not impossible. And I said the people that have done it that I know of didn't speak any Italian whatsoever, but they've managed to get through it. Then obviously when it comes to the practical side, I think it would be a little bit of a bad examiner if he lets somebody that's been driving for however many years, if he failed them or she failed them. So yeah, but that is the reality. You do have to do that. Now, there was talk in the European Union at the beginning of last year where they were trying to make it easier for people to have these, to switch driving licenses within the EU, to be able to renew driving license in a quicker way. So it is still going through, and then they're looking at the potential of allowing countries outside of the EU, certain countries outside of the EU that have similar driving standards to within the EU, to be able to exchange their license. So there was talk about that. If you do a search on Google, in fact, I must do an up-to-date search of that, but if you do a search on that, and I don't know, just write European Union changing licenses, something like that, it should come up, and hopefully there will be some news about that, because I think it has to go that way, because this way is just absolutely ridiculous. But hopefully something's going to happen on that soon, where you should be able to exchange your license with no problem. But as it stands at the moment, you do have to pass a test. Susie, as a new potential remote buyer, what do I need to do prior to pulling the trigger on a property? To be honest with you, Susie, we can do everything as soon as you find a place that you love. What I would say, and I say this quite often to people, is if you can, then go onto your local Italian consulate website and apply for your codice fiscale, which is the tax code that you need to start things off. It would be a little bit of a head start if you could do that. So codice fiscale is spelled CODICE, and then separate word FISCALE. If you type that into the search part of the Italian consulate that's closest to you, then you should be able to apply for one online. Some consulates are fantastic and do it straight away. Some of them takes a while, but yeah, if you don't get them, it's not a major problem. There are lots of people that have been contacting me saying, still haven't received my codice fiscale. I applied for it months ago, it's still not come through. It's really frustrating because I want to start looking for properties. What we are saying to people is still look for properties. It's not a major problem. We can get them for you as it is at the moment. We found another way to get them that seems to be working quite well. So don't let that stop you. But yeah, if you can start to do it, then getting your Codis Fiscal is a great idea just for a head start on property searching. Okay, have you got any more, Tone? Do you want to put another one? Judy, first timer here. Hi, Judy. So first timer. So that little bit of a session that we had earlier with Pacentro, Pete, and Tony must have been very strange for you. But stick with us. You'll understand what it all is as the weeks go by. From Virginia Beach, Virginia, the property you posted today had a large olive grove. Does one have to find someone to tend the grove? First of all, Judy, that property is amazing. Anybody that's not seen, I've just put a few photographs on Facebook and YouTube on the community part on YouTube. I've done the video. It's just the people are looking to sell in mid-September, so I was going to wait while the end of June, possibly beginning of July, to post it. But have a look at it. It's absolutely incredible, this property, and it's literally just up the road from me, so we could be neighbors. They do have an olive grove, and what they've done in the past is, and this you find in most communities, there will always be people that there's a few options. There's those people that will do things casually and say, yeah, we'll come and work the land, we'll do the trees for you, we'll do everything, and you'll get a small percentage of oil. So if you make 100 liters, they may give you 5, 6, 7, 8 liters, but they do it and just on a casual basis. This particular couple that are selling this property, they had an agreement with a local person to do that, but they also wanted to help do some of the things themselves. I think he took maybe 70%, they took 30% because they were doing a lot themselves. Last year and the year before, I think they actually did it themselves. But yeah, there's always people around, and you'll find that anywhere. There's always people around that will help with things like that. Obviously, there has to be incentives for them because there's a lot that goes into keeping an olive grove. You've got to trim them in sort of February, March time, or the early part of the year. Then obviously you've then got to pick them in October. So there is quite a lot that goes in there, but there's lots of people that will help with that kind of thing. There's also people that will want to do a contract, but they will ask for it. They'll put money into your land, as in they'll really get these olives in the best shape possible and do things to the land, but they want then a contract maybe for 10, 15, 20 years. That's something it is a good idea if you're going to be here long term, because at least then your olive grove is going to be absolutely perfect. But I would try and stick to the more casual ones if you can, just in case you need to sell at any time. But that particular one, Judy, that particular property, yes, they will. They pretty much done it themselves or with somebody that lives close by. Okay, Tom, have you got another one for me? He's looking all. He's not had a drink tonight. That's the problem. He's not had a glass of wine. It's Bomber Brad. Using your services, how long does it take to get utilities transferred? Good question, Brad. And you would think it would be quite straightforward and easy. And it's a service that we do, and we hate charging people for it because it seems bad. In the UK, when you buy a house, and I presume it's the same in the US and any other country, anybody that's watching, you buy a house, you ring the company up, you say, I've just bought this house. Here's the old people's details. Here's the account number. And can we just do a changeover? And it's all very simple. Unfortunately, it's not like that here. And you have to jump through hoops for certain things. Sometimes you have to go out there and they'll come and they'll change the meter. They'll want you to send certain information about the meters. The water companies in some areas, we have to actually go to the office. Can you believe it? You've actually got to go to the office to sort out anything to do with your water. It's like something from the 19 whenevers. I always say to people, allow a month, but it should be a week to 2 weeks. It should be, if it's already connected and it's just a changeover. But if there's nothing on, which Brad, in your case, I'm not sure if there's any electrics on there or gas or whatever's on there, I would always say to allow a month, but hopefully it's going to be sort of well before that. But what I wouldn't do, again, in your case, you know that you're going to be signing hopefully early July. I wouldn't book to come sort of mid-July, or something like that. I would leave it well at least the end, just to be on the safe side. It shouldn't be like that. But recently, some of these companies are a bit of a, it's actually, as I say, we hate charging people for it, but it takes up so much time. If you were sat in this office listening to Silvana, my wife, on the phone to these utility companies, it's just unbelievable. I stay away from that job because I think I would just be banned from every utility company in Italy, because I don't know how she puts up with some of the things that they ask and that they say. But yes, we can get it done as quick as possible, but allow a decent amount of time. I would say that to everybody. Okay, just before we move on to any other questions, Tom, because I did actually forget to do stunning photo of the week, and I want to show this one because I think it's brilliant. So we'll just quickly do this just as a little break. So stunning photograph of the week. Remember, guys, send me some photographs. I do like to see where it says stunning somewhere as well. So this has come from, who sent me this? This has come from Troy and Tanya. It's a 1966 Mustang. Thank you. So what a great car that is. And the thing is, I was looking for the stunning and thinking, I mean, obviously the whole thing is stunning, but if you see the little white piece of paper in the on the windscreen there, and I've just turned you can see the little white piece of paper there. They've also sent me a zoomed in version, a stunning little ride that has taken us on many stunning adventures. It soon will be helping us to make our next stunning adventure in Abruzzo a reality. How nice is that? I thought that was absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much, Troy and Tanya. You've got the stunning photo of the week this week. Okay, Tone, do you have some more you want to put through, or shall I do an online one? All's well that ends well. Great names. Saying hello from crazy America, where squatters are running while they legally occupy empty houses and refuse to leave. If I buy a home in Italy remotely, can you assure me no squatters will occupy it? Okay. There's been a few Facebook groups and a few videos that I've seen about squatters. I can only speak from my experience. And my experience on this is I've never known any squatters and I've been doing this for 18 years, more than 18 years now. And I have never come across any client that has bought a house, whether it's a holiday home, whether it's a home like everybody the last couple of years, they've not even seen it yet, and there are squatters in there. It's certainly not something that is big news in the areas, not that I've heard in Abruzzo. I dare say it will happen in some areas. I have heard reports of it in Sicily. I've heard reports of it in Calabria. In fact, one of the other YouTube channels that I think is in Calabria, they talk about that a few times. So they must have had some problems. I'm not saying that everybody in Calabria has problems, not at all. But what I will say is I've never touch wood, I've never come across it here. I've come across it in the UK more than that I've come across it here. It's certainly not something that that I've ever thought about as far as clients' properties and things like that, and the fact that people maybe are not coming out very often. But again, that's only I'm certainly not trying to cover this over. I can't assure you 100% because anything can happen to anybody anyway. But it's certainly not something that I would say that any of our clients over the 18 years have ever come across. Certainly not what I've heard of anyway. So it's not a problem as far as I'm concerned in these areas. Outside of the areas where we work in, I've never heard it really being a problem in Abruzzo. Outside of Abruzzo, I can't really comment on, but again, it's not something that I think it seems to be one of these things where it happens to such a small percentage, but then it gets blown up on social media and all the rest of it. But it's not something that I would say is a problem in these areas. On these sorts of notes, nothing to do with squatters, but I do want to. Oh, hang on a second. Gerald's coming. Sorry, go on, Tony. Okay, you can put that one up. How long does it usually take for a council approving such as an ensuite? Great question. So things that are internal internal works, they are done by a geometer. Usually, you can get an architect and get an engineer to do them, but geometers are usually the right people to do when it's things like this, and they will do a communication to the local council. So you're not necessarily asking for permission, so to speak, because inside your property you can do many things and there's not the restrictions. It doesn't have to go to, usually you always need to check with each individual property, but usually it doesn't have to go to, for instance, the region for certain planning and things like that. It can be something that's done on a local level, and when it's done on a local level, then a geometry will fill out something similar to what they call a SCIA, SCIA, which is basically communicating to the council that you are doing this kind of work. And in those instances, once the geometer has prepared the sheet and put it into the council, then usually works can begin sort of pretty much straight away. So it's not usually a long time at all when it's that kind of work. I would say to allow 30 days. It's probably going to be longer waiting for a builder to come because everybody's so busy. But the actual permissions, the permissions are much longer and start talking months and months and months once you start being in a situation where you have to go to the region. So if it's an area that is under the control of a region, so maybe it's near to the national park, maybe it's in certain areas where then you do have to send it to the region to get there. There are some fast tracks that you can do depending what you're doing, but you can be talking 4, 5, 6 months, 7, 8 months, something like that. But something similar, something simple like an ensuite, I don't know, changing the windows, doing things inside the house is not usually a problem at all. It's usually fairly quick. One thing I was going to say as well, Tony, if you don't mind, it's not so much a question, but something I've noticed again. I used to like having my little moaning sessions every now and then about people, some of the rubbish that people sort of put on social media and things like that. But I've actually noticed that people seem to have quietened down a little bit for some strange reason. One thing I wanted to say, somebody was, it was when I put the video on for the Palazzo a couple of weeks ago. And obviously when anybody sees anything that's a certain price, people are, oh, there's got to be and so you get certain people that will actually study things like Google Maps and Google Earth to trying to pull down areas. And I think when you're looking for properties out here, not just in Abruzzo, in any part of Italy, if you've not been there, obviously it's difficult. You're relying on people like me to tell you the truth about an area, to tell you if it's an area that I would personally buy in, to give the pros and cons of areas. And I think we do try and do that in the Abruzzo sessions that we do. We try to do that in the properties that we actually advertise on behalf of our agents, purely because I've driven around these areas a lot. I've been coming to Abruzzo now for 21 years. So I know it pretty well. I've chosen areas where I want to work, and the reason why I've chosen the areas where we advertise properties because, in my opinion, they're the best areas, and in my opinion, they have lots of things going for them. Whether it's public transport, whether it's easy access to things, all depending on the kind of lifestyle that you want. And I do find it sometimes annoying when we sort of do the videos, and because when I do these videos, believe it or not, I tell you the truth about somewhere, and I would like to think that you all trust me enough by now. I think lots of you have been watching to know that I do not benefit from telling you that a certain place is incredible, and then you coming out here and saying, Dave, there's nobody here, there's no restaurants anywhere, there's no supermarket, can't get anywhere within an hour, everybody's left, everybody's, I don't know, there's no services anywhere, and there's a power station on the end of my garden. I would not benefit in any way for any of that to be true, because obviously you would then come here and wouldn't be very happy, and you would come on these open discussion groups, and write comments that I can't do anything about. I can't delete any comments that people write on YouTube or things. I can delete them after, but during the event, I can't, and I don't really want to. And it's quite a big thing when people are remote buying and they're listening to me talking on a video about things and talking about the availability of shops, doctors, hospitals, things like that. And I tell the truth because I know the areas. Where I live in Palombaro and where that palazzo was, this is a small town. It's a small village. Yes, in Italy, probably like many other places in the world as well, the small towns have become small because the people have left them over the years. This is true. But there's a difference between a small population and a dying population that's on its way out. And we chose this area. I'm talking about Palombaro now, but this applies to anywhere where our videos are. We chose this area because we wanted to be in amazing countryside, amazing views, and all the rest of it that goes with it. And a little bit like Pete, Pacentro Pete, staying in places that are just incredible. You walk around these places and you walk around, especially Pacentro where Pete is. And somebody on the last tour said they were waiting for Mickey Mouse to come out in a Victorian outfit. The reason why they said that is they said it's almost unbelievable. It's almost what you're seeing is unbelievable, and you're expecting it to be part of Disney or part of the film set or something like that. Now, we chose here because we've got as much pieces as we like. My wife wanted to be slightly closer to the coast. I wanted to be closer to the mountains. I don't know how I won that one. But having said that, we're only half an hour away from the coast. So that was our sort of thing, that we would be half an hour away from a maximum of half an hour away from the coast, which we are. And Palombaro itself has one of everything. This particular person on YouTube wrote that there's nothing there. They'd only done their checks on Google Maps. And I'm not putting this person down. I like that people will comment, but comment on things that you actually know about. Somebody else said that I've been on Google Maps. I've seen that there's only one road in, and it's the SS263, and it's a windy road. I agree with that. It is a windy road, but there's not only one road in, and I can be down on the beach or down in a bigger town or a supermarket probably quicker than that particular person will get to work in the morning stuck in traffic and gobbling other people's smoke-filled exhaust pipes and everything else. And it's important to understand here, lots of people will ask me questions about the place and about access to commercial shopping centres. Where's the biggest shopping centre that's close to you? Now, we do have one that's about half an hour away. But in Italy, you have to think that it's different to where you're coming from. It's different to the US, Canada, different to the UK, different to many other countries. In that, somebody told me years ago, Italy is a nation of shopkeepers. And your local shop will have an amazing amount of products in there, and they're not usually majorly expensive. Some of the smaller ones can be, but you don't need these huge centro commerciales. They're actually, we've seen the ruin that these things do to other places in other parts of the world. It will happen in Italy as well. Eventually, these places will take over, and no doubt the small shops will close. But you need to, when you're looking at these areas, you need to realize that even the small villages and small towns, they have things like pharmacies, they have doctors, they have services. We have towns close by. We have all the facilities that we need close by. And when people go on Google Maps and say, well, I've done this and I've looked at, so the biggest cities closest to Palombaro is Pescara. You'd have to drive 50 minutes to go there. But why would I? Why I go to Pescara mainly to pick up the group, to be honest with you, when we do these tours. Or we maybe go to Pescara. My daughter's in university in Chieti, that's close to there. We maybe go to a Japanese restaurant that we quite like down there, things like that. But I don't have to go to these places. And so people get wrapped up that they question things about towns, the right comments, that they don't know how Italy works. And I probably should have saved this for another one of the Abruzzo things, but they don't know how Italy works, and they don't understand that these small towns, there's actually things hidden away. You go into the centre of Palombaro, you won't see a restaurant, but there's a restaurant at the top of the village, and within 15 minutes in the countryside and different parts from where I am here, there's probably 8, 9, 10 restaurants that are fantastic restaurants. They don't all need to be stuffed into Palombaro. Yeah, it might be nice if they would, but I prefer them out in the countryside. I prefer them when they're close to other things that I like to go and see. And I think it's just an important point to make, and I've probably taken up too much time now saying it, but don't do your research on places like Google Earth and Google Maps. It's great to have a look, see where it is, but don't look at that and then think, oh, I'm discounting that place. In the same breath, don't just go onto Google Earth and think, oh, that looks great, I'll buy there. Because I know some towns that look like they've got everything. You get there and they're horrible places. Not horrible, but they're not the best. So don't do that. This is what these sessions are about. This is what these Q&A sessions. Somebody asked me earlier, what's Penepiedimonte like? I'll tell them. And I'm not going to, I don't have any benefits of telling them any different. I love Penepiedimonte. Tiny village. There's probably only 600-700 people there. But it is such an amazing place to go to. And when I talk about it, like everywhere else on the videos, I talk about it because I know it. It's just up the road. I go there quite often. So that's my little rant. Tony's shaking his head and saying, have you got some questions, Tony? Sorry, it is a Q&A and I'm just talking. He keeps holding a white sheet up to me. I can't see what's written on it, but he keeps holding a white sheet. Hopefully Domenico is going to be coming soon to finish off the tongue twisting trials. I wish everybody could see Tony's face now. He's clearly looking at some. Oh, he's got one. He's clearly looking for questions to put on, and he's just got his mouth wide open and sort of looking at the. Bruce, I love your hill towns near Sulmona, but how about a little further west and higher in Villa Lago and Scanno in Abruzzo to avoid Florida summer heat of 28 degrees, 38 degrees? Are there reasons you don't offer there, or perhaps you'll be diplomatic and suggest I go look and find out by myself? I would never say that to you, Bruce. Okay, so we have obviously we have to create some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? We can only go so far in Abruzzo. Scanno, I love. Scanno is a great place to visit. I do think it's a fantastic place to visit. It's very expensive compared to other towns. It is a little bit locked into the mountainside, and winters can be different there. Anyway, I'm not saying you get lots of snow because nobody really does at the moment. It's somewhere where I've because it would add to get to Scanno from the areas where we are. Even though it's very close when you're in Sulmona, you got to bear in mind that I've got an hour and probably an hour and 10 minutes just to get to Sulmona, and then obviously from there I have to get out to Scanno. So it's not somewhere at the moment that I thought of, purely because of the prices up there, to be honest with you. And I think it's quite a unique market. I think it's a great place, Bruce, I really do. But we will be going to, and I can't remember the name, Castelvecchio, and there's a few towns around there. And tomorrow Thursday, I'm actually going to Capistrano. I've got 2 videos to do in Capistrano, so I'm really looking forward to that. But Castelvecchio, and I can't remember the name of it. Tony's putting his hand in his, because I can't remember the name. Something Subacqua. I can't remember the name of it anyway. But that is higher in the mountains from Raiano, but it's only literally sort of 10 minutes out of the back of Raiano. And one of these particular villages up there also has a train station, which seems to be quite important to a number of people that are looking to access to public transport, and in particular train stations. And that place does have train stations. So we are actually going that way, and it is a little bit higher into the mountains. So stay tuned, Bruce, because that is going to be happening during June and July. Me and Domenico have decided that that's where we're going to be heading to. I will look at some of these other villages that you said. Scanno, as I say, is a different sort of market, but it could be somewhere that we would consider. The other place that I am considering as well is Tagliacozzo, but I just need to find somebody up there that I can trust as much as I do the guys that I work with now, and in particular Domenico. Ellie, are all the amenities open during the winter months, i.e. cafes, bars and restaurants? Yes. Again, great question. Not in all places, but the places where we are, then yes. And again, I can say that, I mean, some of the restaurants may go to just weekends when it's sort of in the full height of season, but the vast majority don't. I live here all year round, and we go to restaurants all year round, because these areas, again, places like Palombaro, one of the reasons why I still believe in these areas a lot is because there's work here, because there's the greenest industry area heading down towards the coast. It's nowhere near where we are. It doesn't affect us. There's no smog. It's actually, it is the greenest in Europe. And there is Honda down there, Fiat down there, and lots of big businesses. So they tend to feed lots of the towns as you come into the mountains from this side. So where we are, you do get lots of workers. Fara San Martino next to us has the Di Cecco pasta factory there. Also has Del Verde pasta and another pasta. So all of these places, they are busy all year round. So yes, some areas of Abruzzo, which is why I'm not going to start pulling areas down, but we choose the areas exactly for this reason, Ellie, that when somebody comes, even if it's February, whenever, they're still going to have the services that they need. But obviously check in the places where you're choosing that is the same. But I would say certainly in all the places where we are, I say we go to restaurants all the time, and they're local restaurants. We probably frequent them a little bit too much, to be honest with you. But yes, they are open all year round. Okay. Any more questions, Tony? I'm waiting for Domenico. I've got a feeling he's going to tell me he's not received the link. That's why I'm checking my telephone. He's not said anything yet. What is the name of your partners in Puglia? Okay, so I'm actually going to be doing something with them soon. If you contact me on the info@ahomeanitaly.com, I'll put you in touch with the people down there. They're around the Martina Franca. Around the Martina Franca area, and sort of covering terrible, my words are going, not Otranto, there's another one, the White City, that's on the hill that I've completely forgot the name of. Anyway, around the Martina Franca area. So if you contact me on info@homeanitaly.com, I'll pass their details, but I am going to be getting those guys coming on soon, just so they can give you a bit of an introduction to that area as well. Okay. Any more, Tom? Yvonne, can you ride an electric bike with any problems or without any problems? Yes, you can. And they're fantastic. I mean, obviously, a friend of mine bought an electric bike, and I thought I would absolutely love one of those, because me on a push bike, we don't really go together. And and my wife did buy me an electric bike, which I've probably used half a dozen times, even though I promised I was going to use it every single day. But they are fantastic, and they even drag somebody of my bone size up and down these mountain roads with ease. So they are very, very good. And yes, at this moment in time, there are no restrictions for people using electric bikes. In fact, it's a great option for people that are buying in these towns and villages. They're absolutely superb. Lewis, Dave could charge double his current rate for utilities and they would still be losing money. That is true. I mean, Lewis is a classic example. There was, I mean, I'm not going to go into the story of his Sulmona apartment, but let's just say standing in the middle of the road, digging up manholes, trying to find a water meter. It's and it's a constant thing with connections, unfortunately, with utility companies. Once they've finally got the hang of, you know, they've actually got to supply you with something and they stop just cutting you off for no reason, then it's all usually pretty plain sailing, but it is difficult. Connie, hi Dave, do you have more properties for sale other than what's on your website? We're coming in July, meeting with Claudio to see homes on your side of the mountain. Yes, Connie, usually when people come out here, you will see, because with the video properties, they tend to stack up until I get out there and finally film them. So yes, we do have other properties that are waiting in line for videos or waiting in line to get onto the video channel. So in answer to your question, yes, we do have more. No sign of Domenico yet. Let me just send him a quick message, because the time is. Hai ricevuto il link? Perché siamo a aspettare per te. Domenico is supposed to be coming on and doing the other part of. If he forget, I don't know what's wrong with him. He forgets. That's his problem. Dave, this live YouTube is so helpful. I'm hoping to make it your way in March to do some recon. That's what we say, isn't it? we're here. We'll be here waiting. You should join a tour. Anybody that's looking to come to the area should join the tours. That's the best way to see the area, because you get to see the areas, you get to see properties and everything else. And I'm glad that people really like these YouTube sessions, because they are important to keep going. Are there places to rent cars short term in Abruzzo? Yes, you can get them from all the airports that you fly into. There's lots of different companies from all the airports that you fly into. And also I've got somebody in the Sulmona area. It was a great contact who speaks perfect English, and he can pick people up from the airport, and he also does rental and all that kind of thing. Oh, that must mean that Domenico is here. Yeah, I can see him in the just Domenico. Hang on a sec. Let me just. Okay, it's time, folks. That's wound up the Q&A session for this evening. So now it's time to finish off. What's it called, Tony? I was going to move it. I was going to put it on then, seeing as though you're just obviously falling to sleep. Domenico and Tony's Tongue Twisting Trials with our special guest, our very special guest. It's Pacentro Pete. So let's bring these back on, see if anybody can guess this famous film. And if I have to give you some clues, I will. So let's bring people on. Here's Tony. Are you ready for your part two, Tone?
Oh, absolutely.
Fantastic. You look
Can't
really
wait.
Huh?
Can't wait.
I can tell. Is that your England t-shirt in the background?
Yeah.
You
Don't
could
get
have
it.
folded it up and put it somewhere.
Hey.
You know.
Oh. And
Let's have
it's
a
got. Oh. And it's only got Bellingham on the back.
The best player we've got. Are we going to do it this year? Is it our year, Tony? Is it our year?
It is our year. Definitely.
I hope you're right.
Definitely our year.
Domenico's looking in disgust because he'll be, as long as Italy do, but Italy got. Unfortunately, I'm not an Italian football fan, because my father-in-law would drive me insane, like he did when Italy won us in the final. I just don't want another repeat of that. Anyway, Pacentro Pete is back.
Hey.
Yep.
And now we've got Domenico's just disappeared off the screen. Dome.
No. Hey.
Oh.
Hey, my God.
Hey, buonasera.
Bye. Non ti senti?
Good morning, good evening.
Oh, no, adesso ti sento.
Hi Tony, hi Pete.
Hey.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ok, let's just turn Domenico's microphone up a little bit. Sei pronto? Oggi questo è un po' difficile. È un po' lungo questo.
No.
È un
Ok, ti mando subito. Aspetta. So first of all, we're going to listen to Tony and Pete saying it in Italian.
Sì.
And then we're going to go to Domenico. Ok, ti ho mandato adesso, devi studiare, va bene? Do 30 secondi per studiare.
Un attimo che prendo il telefono di Silvia.
Okay, so he's forgotten his wife's telephone. That's a good start when I have to send the message to her. Okay, Tony and Pete, are you ready? Pete, I will.
Okay. Gotcha.
Anybody that's wondering what's going off, remember, Tony, Pete, and Domenico are going to read from a famous film. I'm going to have to help the last part of Domenico's, because there is one little part at the end that I need to do, which I don't know what it is. And then people can guess what it is once everybody's finished. Okay.
Tommy, mi dispiace. Mi ringo.
Okay,
Tony.
Tony, are you ready?
Ok.
Deve pazzo.
Go. Ha bisogno di me. Non è come se fosse una maniaca, una delirante. Semplicemente si arrabbia a volte. Tutta ti amo un po' matto a volte. Non è vero.
Okay, well done, Tom. That's all right.
Sì, a volte può bastare una sola volta.
Hai visto, Domenico? Hai visto Pacentro Pete? Bravo. Ok, Domenico, in inglese, in English, and then I will finish it off.
Sorry.
Okay, go.
Vado. She needs my. It's not as if she were a maniac. Her raving thing. She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
Yes, sometimes just one time can be enough. Can anybody get this? Can anybody?
I should be mightily surprised.
Is anybody going to get it? Come on, there's got to be somebody that's. This is the
I
first
can't
time.
believe that somebody is
Tony,
going
oh, we've got one, David.
Hey,
David,
Hey.
can't believe
Hey.
he got that. Psycho from 1960.
Yes.
Cannot
Wow.
believe he got that.
it was all because of my Italian.
Certainly not because of mine, Pete.
I cannot believe David. It doesn't look like anybody's got it from YouTube. Obviously, everybody's seen it now. Sabina's put When Harry Met Sally. It's similar, but it's Psycho. Absolutely fantastic. Davide, I cannot believe this guy. Davide is obviously Italian. Davide Casasa. Si pronuncia or no, see, I think that's how you pronounce it. I can't believe that he got that. Well done, Davide. You're this week's winner, and nobody from YouTube got it. So I'm the winner of YouTube, and I've been beaten again on Facebook. Can't believe it. Thanks, guys. Grazie, Domenico.
Ciao, Domenico.
Grazie.
Ci vediamo giovedì in Capistrano.
Yes.
Oh,
Bye
Buona
bye.
serata.
Ciao.
ciao.
Okay, Pete, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Absolute
Cheers,
pleasure
mate.
as usual, and no doubt we'll be in touch really soon.
All right.
See you soon, Pete. Thank you.
Yeah, Peter.
Tone, I can't believe that I really can't believe Lewis James has put zero clue.
Oh, you'd expect that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely superb. I'm very surprised that anybody got that, but there you go. There you go. So we need to go even harder next week. I think I'm going to start doing some maybe some scriptures from the Bible. See if anybody gets that.
Can you just answer this one?
Yvonne, can you please discuss the best way to get to Brussels from the USA? Airport, bus, train, etc. Okay, so go on, Tone. You answer this one. See if you're any good.
Well, you have a few options. You can fly to Milan, or you fly to Rome, Fiumicino. From
And if-
Fiumicino, which is probably the easiest, you can hire a car, or you get the train to Pescara, or you get the bus from Pescara. From Milan, you would get the train, which is about 4 hours, 4.5 hours.
Or
Or what?
from Milan, you can do Milan on the train, or
Oh, you can fly. Yeah, there's a Ryanair connection flight that goes from Bergamo.
Bergamo. Sorry, I don't like to.
No, it's all right. Yeah, so yeah, you can do that. And I think they're 5-6 times a week, aren't they? I think the Milan flights.
There you go, folks.
So,
That's Tony on the big massive Q&A. How good is he? Thanks, Tone. Yeah, so that's as Tony was saying, into Rome Fiumicino, you can either get buses, best bus, Tone, Pronto bus, would you say?
yeah. Or Flix, or I use Prontobus.
Pronto bus, Pronto, Pronto bus from Rome Fiumicino, picks you up outside the terminal. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then brings you over here to. How much did you pay last time from Rome to Pescara?
It's for two. It worked out around about 34 euros.
It's about 17 euros each.
Return, that was. Yeah.
Ridiculous prices. Thank you very much. Lewis is saying do song lyrics. That's not a bad shout, Lewis. Not a bad shout at all. We may actually bring song lyrics into that as well. Okay, guys. So that's it. That's the big, massive Q&A over and done with for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us all again. Sorry when things go a little bit crazy for you first-time viewers. Hopefully you will join us again next week. And next week, I've not decided what we're doing yet next week, but I want to get a few more people in. I want to get some people off the old tours. So I think we may do that next week. I also want to do a Meet the Home Buyers Revisited. I want to do one of those this month, and I want to do another Meet the Home Buyers really soon as well. And we've got David coming in from Currencies Direct as well at some point. So I'm going to decide what to do next week, and I will let everybody know. Obviously, I will get everything advertised as usual. Thank you so much again for all your support. Really appreciate it. Make sure you join us every single Tuesday. Most Tuesdays, 99% of Tuesdays, the same time every week at 7 p.m. Italian time. And keep an eye out for the property videos, because we've got some absolutely fantastic places coming up, including that amazing villa with a swimming pool. Have a look at it on Facebook. Go onto our Facebook page. Really is something very, very special, that one. And I've done the video for it, but it's going to be about a couple of weeks before it's out. But if anybody is interested, then obviously get in touch as soon as you like. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you again next week. Thank you to Pete, and thank you to Tony, and obviously to Domenico as well. See you soon.